All right, welcome back. We have the parish president of Terrebonne Parish, Gordon Dove. We also have the Levy district president, Tony Alford, on. And, I want to give some love. There's a lot of people that caught some water from a phenomenon that, to be honest, none of us have ever experienced. And, Tony, I want to go to you with this because, I've had calls from the Shear family, I've had Peter Wolf's family, different families that saw water. I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost something that no one expected. Explain that to me a little bit.
Well, nobody expected it last year. Zeta, when it changed to the west, the wind actually blew Lake Boudreaux into Petit Caillou Canal, and flooded them at that point. Yeah. And they thought, hey, we kind of thought this was going to be something that's probably not going to happen again. Will happen this time as well. So we definitely have to figure out how to stop the water in the system, if we can, from moving around. Because, with a storm of this magnitude, and, they classified Zeta as a 3 last year, the same thing took place, that the whole lake moved into the canal, right? And that's why you see the debris up on those levees.
Lake Boudreaux and Lake Robinson.
Yeah, yeah. So
a lot of water.
We've got to work on that, and we've got to figure something there as well,
Gordy?
And I agree with Tony. This wasn't a tidal. This wasn't a tidal type of flooding towards them houses. Wind driven. Remember, the wind took those lakes, put it against the Cocodrie floodgate, and it was 9 feet. But as you go further back, it went all the way down to 3 feet.
Yeah.
And this was wind driven. This wasn't tidal. And that it like anything more, it taught us, the engineers and everyone, a lesson of how strong a reverse head can be in a hurricane.
And what's the solution? Because I don't want to sit here and be the person that points at the problem. What's the solution to that?
Well, we're gonna get with our engineers and look at some solutions. But for sure, we've got to equip those floodgates and build them more appropriately to withstand a surge from behind.
Right.
And Robinson Canal, Boudreaux Canal, we've got to do something there to stop that lake. Now the lake pretty much came over the road, right? So we're not really sure what's going to be the best fix, but we've got to figure something out.
You got flap gates to let the water out from the inside, but you almost got to put them on the other side, and then how do you engineer that?
Yeah. Well, one of the plans is, and Gordon and I talked about this, is to get on a mission to put those flap gates in every piece of metal on any canal where we have a floodgate. There will be a flap gate, so that more volume can spill out. Right. Should that happen? Should we get tremendous rain behind or a storm surge like we got?
And go out, imagine the force on these gates is. I mean, it's probably incredible.
185 mile an hour winds, like on the H&C, were clocked with billions of tons of water, and the gates still held. So I mean that's the plus part of it. The other part is we've already come up with a solution. In fact, excuse me, I was talking to Colonel Murphy this morning about it with the Corps, about what Tony just said. Is putting a flap gate or some type of butterfly valve in the receiving walls of the bulkhead, the steel sheet piling, which we could do that by next hurricane season.
And that would be controlled electronically from the Cat 5 building, somewhere where you could release it?
There's some automation that we can do, and so that's those are some things that we're looking into.
Yeah.
Mark, you could put a sensor. Yeah, automation like he's talking about. You put a sensor. Right now on our pump stations, we use floats, but we use a sensor as a backup in case floats get hung up or something.
Right.
So you can use a sensor that's going to tell you, hey, you got 4 foot of water on the inside and you shouldn't, and it's going to open these gates and release it. Because these gates are designed for a hurricane coming out of the south with a storm surge from the south. Whoever, you got a reverse head that's blowing 9 foot of water out of our lakes and our bayous and our streams. It's just, it reminds me of, years ago when they had wind shear on jets, and of course they were crashing.
Right.
But what did they do? They learned from the incident. So
Well, they put
we've al-
automated things on the jet, so it would,
Right,
counter the
so
windshield.
we're taxed with the same thing, and we've already talked about it. We met with the engineers, and we have a game plan. So we're gonna correct that problem so it don't happen again.
Yeah, and Tony, I know you were talking to, like, once again, I think Cecil Laprousse, his family, and
Yeah.
a bunch of other people, and that was a tough one for them, wasn't it?
I feel really bad for all those folks. You try to come up with a solution, you think you have one, and then you get this magnitude of storm, and it has you sort of rethinking a few things. We know that a lot of it worked, a lot of it happened, but how do you fine tune it? How do you get it where those things don't happen? And, we're talking to CPRA right now about, phase 1, 2, and 3 with it for this, for the lock system, and maybe moving different phases where maybe we put the sector gate in first so that we can allow that water to flow out a little more readily. And so we're looking at some of those things as well to try to get those done sooner.
All right, I want to hold this thought. When we come back, I want to talk about FEMA's reimbursements. Gordon, if we could talk about the parish, how you disperse money, and we'll talk about all that when we come back. Don't go away. A lot of information coming your way today. We got a full lineup today. It's all next.